Episode 31 is the episode that most audiences have some vague familiarity with. Well, besides the time Miku got slapped with Godzilla. I assure you we will get to that movie eventually. Hayato is currently doing the rail otaku bit of filming trains, the Tokaido Shinkansen specifically, and this will make a lot more sense in a few minutes. Then Hayato spots the Type 500 Eva. This is weird. Remember back a dozen episodes ago? In episode 19, I believed? Yeah, this thing is rightfully should be in a museum. It's been decommissioned ages ago. Why on earth would it be here? Then we get our title card. I haven't been focusing on the title cards at all because they're not relevant, but this one is relevant to the plot of this episode mainly because it's all black and white. This is what a title card usually looks like. This is actually the title card of episode 32, the episode right after this one. This is how an Evangelion title card would look like. Yep, we're really going through the whole Evangelion crossover. So Hayato runs off, then he sees a settlement nearby and is absolutely befuddled by it. And like a fool, he walks out into the streets. Maybe he should stop with the Shinkansens for a while and start thinking about, road safety. I would say he runs into this car, but that would be in poor taste for what happens. The car nearly runs into him. The first people from Evangelion he runs into are Hikari, Kodama, and Nozomi. Those of you who are following along recognize, wait, Kodama, isn't that the name of one of the Shinkalions? Well, yes, specifically the 500 Kodama, the one Hokuto uses. All three girls are actually named after the Shinkansen, specifically the Tokaido Shinkansen. Suddenly, Nozomi, Hikaru, and Kodama make the most sense as characters for Hayato to run into first. They flat out say, later on, that they're named after the Shinkansen. The sisters give Hayato a ride to Tokyo 3, which continues to baffle him because in Hayato's world, that does not exist. The interactions are great, and Hayato coming off yeah, people think I'm a maniac when I start talking about the Shinkalions, and not the Shinkalions, the Shinkansens. Yeah, that's normal. Don't worry, these three aren't the only Evangelion characters. We'll get to more in a minute. By more, I mean the angels. Yes, this is Shinkalion and Evangelion. You need a giant monster. So, get this. The Shinkansen Ultra Evolution Institute is familiar with angels. They name it King Angel-El, although how it's actually said in the Raw is King Shito-El, but who cares at this point? Probably because that's the most fitting name they could probably ever give it. And apparently Commander Izumi has a spare E5 in Tokyo 3. I'm with you, Shashot. I wish I was this level of just in case something were to happen, that you have to go to another dimension. Hayato zips past Rei and Asuka. Let's talk about King Angel-El for a moment here. Can you guess which angels they composited in order to make this abomination? Here. These are the only 5 I see. Oh, and Hayato is unable to break the AT field because Evangelion logic. Wah, wah, wah. So Hayato is dodging a bunch of giant cross-shaped lasers, and now they need actual firepower that can actually break the AT field. So Izumi tells him to wait until he gets his backup. His backup is Shinji Ikari, and we get Cruel Angel's thesis blaring in the background. Even Misato gets a vocal cameo. This whole sequence is so stupid, but at the same time, it's glorious. This is why I love Shinkalion. Anyways, Shinji has a plan. Brute force. Actually, the plan is to use Hayato's Tunsil sword and combine it with his own AT field to smash through the AT field of the King Angel-El. Also, you can't use bloody imagery here, as they do in Evangelion, so it's just golden Ichor, I guess. Hayato uses Grand Cross after the whole AT field breaks, and it destroys the S2 engine, leaving one giant cross, because Evangelion. Hayato is fully convinced that this is just some weird dream he had because he passed out in the middle of a field, which, to be fair, this would be the case. He clearly dreamed this part of him meeting Shinji Ikari as well. And then Hayato wakes up in the middle of a forest. And he's definitely convinced it's all a dream now. Then it turns out the pictures he took of the other world were actually real. And of course, you can never have an Oscar cameo without her saying Antabaka at any given point. Shinji is apparently watching Hayato return to his own world. The episode ends. This episode is what we call nice fun. And of course, it's the episode where we establish the multiverse. As much as Hayato says this is a weird dream, it's not a dream. It actually becomes plot relevant later. Shinji will actually make another appearance in Shinkalion Z, the sequel series. But before he appears in the sequel series, he ends up in the movie, which takes place after the series, which, again, we'll get to. Of course, if this episode was too straightforward, it really wouldn't be an Evangelion anything. So here's a few questions. The Shinkansen Ultra Evolution Institute clearly knows about angels, and they clearly know about this dimension where Tokyo 3 is. So my question is, did they do a joint venture with Tokyo 3 to develop the Shinkalions? Did they share the technology? Is this a thing they do regularly? What about other dimensions? Do NERV and the Shinkansen Ultra Evolution Institute have like a contract? Do they have tabs on Gendo Ikari? Futaba clearly knows what on earth an angel is, even if she can't put her finger on the name. Wait, since Evangelion exists in Hayato's world as a TV show, and clearly it exists as a TV show because Hayato recognizes the Type 500 Eva, which is something that only exists because Evangelion is a TV show, and possibly a movie, depending on if Rebuild of Evangelion actually exists in their world. Are they really side-eyeing everything they're giving Gendo? Seriously. So how exactly on earth is Hayato able to simply access this world, or are there weak points in the universe which allow him to traverse the multiverse? Since Shinji Ikari is far more sane in this universe and is at least aware the multiverse exists, does he just sit around in this universe and have no vacations? Because clearly the other pilots aren't, well, pilots. They're just regular teenagers. Does that mean that he can also traverse the multiverse? Well, of course, I think he does that in the sequel series. Does he traverse the multiverse and know about his own unpopularity, or at least just divisiveness in other universes? Does he know about the Evangelion real, well, prime universe? Is he aware? Is he aware of the hospital scene in End of Evangelion? Because if he is, oh no. Are the angels of this universe coming out of space, or are the angels of this universe something like their equivalent of the agents? Okay, I'm done yapping. Please consider liking, subscribing, tipping the channel on Ko-fi. This is Cyril signing off.